With 4 million sounds, what will you create? Take the free trial today.
Hey, Stefan Schmidt, there, Nonlinear Labs. Where are you? Are you in Berlin?
Yeah, I'm in our, let's say, rooms here, and this is it's a special room. This is our, let's say, sound design cabin, so where we can make as much noise as we want. And,
so,
yeah.
So everything, it looks very sunny there. So we're going to take a look at it's the Nonlinear Lab C15, which when I first saw this, it was rather misunderstood, wasn't it? Because it seemed on the face of it kind of quite limited, but actually it's incredibly sensitive and incredibly dynamic, and people who try it kind of go, oh my goodness, it's not what I expected at all. Your design concept was really to make an instrument that was extremely playable and extremely sensitive and high resolution. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a fully digital instrument, and from my past I have quite some experience with FM synthesizers, and they are a good example for instruments that respond, or they can respond very musically to the way how you play, because not only the volume is changing, but also the full spectrum can change. So one part of our sound engine is a 2-oscillator FM core extended by some wave shaping. And the second part is a filter and resonator thing, so that can be used for say classical subtractive synthesis, but it can also run like physical modeling, like a wave guide model. And we have this is just like 2 oscillators and 2 filters and a lot of options how to route the signals. And how to use also feedback loops. So you have feedback loops in the FM structure, but you have also feedback loops that can go around the comp filter. This is the resonator filter, and it can even include the effects. And that's one way how we get complex sounds from quite simple, let's say, basic components. The oscillators only have a sine wave as let's say as the waveform. But by modulation and by shaping, this can get very, let's say, very rich and bright if you want, and can be the exciter for the comp filter. Yeah, that's the rough, let's say, approach of the sound engine, and that's also with the version that we want to show. Now this stays like it is, but we can say we have 2 sound engines available, so we can split up the voices into 2 times 12 voices, and they can run with independent parameter sets in parallel mode or in the split mode, and that's what we want to bring to our customers.
All right, so now, I mean, previously it was 1 sound at a time, but now you can split and you can layer, so you effectively have dual engine. That's quite a big update, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's a really large update for us, because also we have rewritten most of the sound engine and the software behind it to make it also capable to also for future extensions. So it's has taken quite an effort and time to come up with this new engine. It's based on a different operating system, software architecture, and lots of new stuff. So that's what take us some time.
Okay.
And it's let's say for this release, it's it's the first step where we use this new sound engine or the new software architecture, but it's to be expected, because we think that there comes more. Yeah? So we have lots of ideas, long lists of things that we want to realize. The instrument is meant to be sustainable, as we think it is an instrument that can evolve over the time. We have a user interface that is very, let's say, looks generic or a bit, say, irritating to many people. But the thing is that we can remove these panels, and because they are magnetic foils. And so with this update also we will send new foils to our customers because, for example, we have now 6 microcontrols available, and before it was only 4 microcontrols, and other things have changed. It's not, let's say, a dramatic change in the structure of the sound engine, so you can use all the sound that have been created before, but now with more control options also by the 6 microcontrols, for example.
So we should hear something. I think we've talked. And the thing about this instrument is you have to hear. I mean, I wish I could be there to play it because I did enjoy playing it when I did. But maybe you could show us a little bit of some of the sounds because presumably with the layering as well, you can create even more complex and splitting as well. So you can kind of you can double up effectively.
Yeah, right. So for I mean, this is an instrument that's also meant to be used on stage. So it's for performers. And they are, of course, asking for splitting so that they can use 2 sounds at the same time, don't have to use 2 instruments for that. So I would start with the splitting, and then we come to the layering, which is, say, more doubling the sound power. But with the split, you can see what we also have to offer here with the 2 groups of voices. This is just one single sound. We now call them single sounds, the old type of sounds. And I can go to the voices screen or the sound screen. So now it's split. Now I have 2 engines, but still having the same sound on both sides.
And this, just to be clear, this is all running internal to the instrument. You're not connected to a computer to enable this. It's got its own sort of sound engine inside, right?
Yeah, the sound engine. There's a embedded system inside, so it's everything is software based. As my background is software instruments, but it's no, it's fully enclosed, or how to say? It's fully self-contained. And when if you see a screen here, you see in front of me, there's a screen. This is like an extended user interface, so it's possible to have all the parameters also on a large screen.
So can you share that screen with me now? Can we have a quick look at it? Okay.
And it's a user interface that is quite unique. We can zoom in and out, so it contains the parameter editor. So it's like a maps application. I can zoom in as much as I would like here to get the parameters into focus, and I can zoom out. And now we are more in the domain of, let's say, presets. So. What I also wanted to show is that we now have these 6 macrocontrols. So this is where the macrocontrols are located on the screen. They can be connected to the pedals. Let me make it larger. So here you see we have 8 modulation sources, up to 4 pedals, bender, aftertouch, and 2 ribbons, which is quite a unique thing, these very long ribbons on top of the keyboard. So in that case, you see that, for example, the left pedal is connected to the first macrocontrol, and it's also, in parallel, the ribbon would also be usable there. And it's changing something here in the oscillator. You see that this thing is moving when I I move the pedal. And that's now, as I said, we had 4 channels. So the old presets, they use only the 4 channels here. You see something like brightness or pitch bending, sustain pedal, and now the 2 additional channels here, like E and F, are unused. But I could say that pedal 3 goes there, and then pedal 3 would do something with microcontrol F, and microcontrol F could be mapped to one or many of the. You can map each microcontrol to up to nearly 100 parameters in the in
wow.
the engine. Another thing that we offer, also it's quite new, is a second screen where
so
the macro
XY pads. Yeah. Okay.
XY pads for the macro controls. Okay, not happening much in this case, but you see that you can go there, like you can use this on the tablet, for example, to control.
Right. So how does that speak? Because I mean, legendarily, when you first launched, you chose that you weren't using MIDI, and it wasn't because you were being kind of Philistines. It was because MIDI just didn't have the resolution required to kind of control it to the degree that you wanted, right?
Yeah, we have a high resolution inside, and it's for us it would be sad to lose this resolution. I mean, today there's MIDI 2.0. Maybe we rethink but it's also an instrument mainly for players. So we don't want to distract people too much also by this say all these options that you would have by MIDI. Yeah, so it's very much focused on the keyboard playing and the pedals control. So this real-time control is a very important aspect, and therefore, I can say I was a bit arrogant to say, okay, let's focus on those who want to play the keys, and not so much on, let's say, the typical studio. Let's say the large studio situation with everything integrated, and then it would be a master keyboard and controller for something, and so on. So you would also open up a large field of let's say features that you have to offer. So we are focusing on having a very good and fast response. Highly resolved and fast response for the keyboard. It's a very good keyboard.
Well, I was going to ask about that. Maybe you could switch back to the. Is it okay to switch back to the other camera so that we can see the instrument? I mean, it's built, from wood. It's got a high sort of design aesthetic in terms of the quality of the components that you're putting in there. Maybe we could have a few more sounds. We've had a lot of talking, so maybe you could demonstrate some more of your. The lovely sounds, because there's some really amazing stuff in there. Have you created new patches for this new operating system as well? Yeah,
we did. I started to show a little bit, or no, actually I didn't start. I didn't show. So let me try now with some split sounds. It's electric piano, but.
And is it poly aftertouch? I should ask that.
No, it seems it's kind of let's say it's a workaround in that way that we have split it. So the one half is now aftertouch. So the left hand is not, or the chord that I play in the left hand is not affected by the aftertouch that I'm doing with the right hand. Yeah.
Right.
And this is already a solution that I think is fulfilling lots of requirements that people expect from polyphonic aftertouch. Same here. Here you hear that we have on the right hand we have a mono mode thing. So the left hand is polyphonic.
That's another new thing in the modes as well. So you got a mono mode. I mean, it's interesting that the way that because one of our podcast guests, Ty, I remember when this first came out, he was quite sort of, could you be so crazy not to produce something with MIDI? But I think he's had a chance to play it. And is it true he's actually bought one now? Because I mean, I think as a player's instrument, it's one of those things that you sort of you could just you appreciate it when you put your hands on it. It's very hard to do it any other way.
Yeah, it's something that's right. We have the experience that our users or the customers, or let's say when you are at the trade show, people start to play and they don't stop playing. They get into a flow and they feel inspired. So that's the best we can achieve, that people focus on the playing, not thinking so much about how to configure something and how to set it up that it can control something and so on, but just taking this as a pure instrument that is it's meant to you don't even need to be a good keyboard player. I think it's I'm also not
it's a dynamic thing. Well, I think we should have some more sounds as well.
Yeah, let's go for the sounds where we have two parts combined in a layer. So this sounds like a electric piano, but I want to show it consists of this softer piano and this metallic piano, and together they are something more in the orchestral domain. So let's also listen to the one, the other one, and now together. Similar, so you get now the really complex or full sounding soundtrack stuff.
Yeah.
But here this is like a more exotic thing. So we have
they're built-in
lots
effects
of
in this as well, aren't there? So yeah.
By the way, the effects section is double now. So we have two effects, fully equipped effect sections running now. So you can run the one part through a different reverb than the other part. Yeah, it's so
that rather suggests that there's more capability in the DSP inside the unit for you to expand into further areas, right?
Yeah, right. We were able to improve the efficiency very much of the CPU, and so we have a lot of now DSP power now that we can use for more things coming in future, and also more control things. So now we can control two parts, but in future we want to control per voice some things, and that's something that we can do only now.
So one thing I was going to ask, the control section above the main keyboard, is that an optional extra? That doesn't come with the sort of basic keyboard?
In the beginning, we thought about, offering also the basic keyboard separately, so for lower price, because you can run, because everything is contained, the full audio stuff is contained here, and this is like an extension for the user interface. But we didn't have any customer asking for that, and so up to now every customer got the combination of both. But when he goes on stage, he can leave the upper part at home, and he still can recall the presets here. Yeah, so I can switch presets on in the small display.
Right.
And when it's combined, this is more like the display for showing me what is on the ribbons. Yeah, in this small display, and in this large display, I can change sounds, or I can edit parameters. It is the way of editing parameters is selecting one, and then I have it here. Yeah, that's something people are skeptical about, but I can say most people who do sound design, they are really happy with this hardware interface. They have, it's one step more, but it's like a muscle memory. You know where to go. Yeah. There's the flanger mix. Yeah. There's the reverb, and here is the comp filter, and here's the oscillator, and so on. So my hands go by intuition.
Yes, of course, yeah. So this, I mean, you know, we should point out that, I mean, it is not designed to be a low cost kind of smash them out at the low. You know, this is a kind of premium instrument with premium kind of componentry and a lot of thought going on. I mean, what's the current price of it? I mean, because I know you did various different things, didn't you? You were doing sort of educational leasings and all sorts of ways to do it. So can you still buy it in a number of ways?
We are still very flexible in regards to the payments. So we have so if you purchase the instrument, it's 4,000 euros including tax, and of course this is not a low price, but we don't only want to reach let's say the collectors or the people with the money. We want also to reach the students and the young talents and those who really are say musical, maybe the power users, but they couldn't afford that. So we do everything in direct sales. So everybody has to come to us, and we talk about also conditions and contracts. And the second type of contract is rent to own, and there we expect payments of 2% per month. So this would be 80 to 90 euros per month. And what is also very important, you can return the instrument whenever you want. So then you would only have to pay this 2% per month. But you can buy it step by step, or own it more and more by payments. You can choose any sort of.
Right. So you kind of try and make it as applicable as possible. I mean, you know, some things aren't cheap. You know, some things have to cost money. So I mean, I don't subscribe to that everything must be as cheap as possible. I think that's. I mean, like I say, if you do get the chance out there, it's well worth trying out because it really does have a sense of, you know, playability. So. Stefan, thank you very much. That's awesome. Perhaps you could play us out with a couple more sounds, and then we can, and then we can fade off into the sunset to some lovely playing.
Yeah. Okay. I'll record some sounds here. Again, this is a mono mode thing. This comes with 6 voices unison. Or more in the domain of physical modeling. And also here you hear the complex behavior. Okay, and
that's great. Stefan, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And hopefully we will see you in person again soon. Hopefully next year at Superbooth when we can all travel again, right?
Yeah, that would be really great. I hope that Superbooth survives this crisis, and we can be back in next year.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.